Welcome, everybody. This is Beer Guys Radio. Thank you so much for coming here and hanging out with us. We always appreciate that. Having a good time sharing some beers, some conversations. We're going to get into the show here. If you'd like to share what you're drinking, share a thought, anything, please do post in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. But with that said, let me get where I need to be, and we will get this thing going. Here we go. Welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Always good to hang out, have some beers and conversations. I am Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how's it going?
It's been a heck of a week, Tim. It's been
a heck of a week. Those happen. Those do happen sometimes.
Do you like it when you spend like a day and a half working on something, and then you spend the last half of those 2 days undoing all of it, rolling it all back?
I enjoy it.
Isn't
I
it
enjoy
great? It's
having
so
to undo stuff that I've done. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Or on the similar to that, you spend several days doing something and then it just gets undone by someone else. Or
that's nice too.
Yeah. So all those fun things. Yeah, man. So good luck to you, Brian.
Yeah.
It's, sounds like you need a beer and some chill out time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Good. Yes. I've been drinking my beer with relish.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Well, pickle beers are popular, so why not relish beers, right?
Depends on what kind of pickles, right?
Yeah.
Nate, how are you doing? What vegetables do you have in your beers?
No vegetables, but I do have a project that I spent a lot of time on, and then was told we're going in a different direction. So
yeah, okay.
I didn't undo the work. It's just the work got thrown in the bin, and they said, "All right, you're gonna like it because we're just moving on."
It's we're all having great weeks, is what we're pulling together
fantastic.
Here. So,
yeah,
hey, good stuff, guys.
We're just thankful for beer, though.
That's it, man. That's it. I severely injured myself yesterday eating a salad.
Ooh.
So
they are dangerous.
There's that.
I mean,
yeah.
Did you have a professional? Like, you need a spotter for salad. I'm like, if you're not used to eating salad, you probably should have an advisor.
Yeah. It was one of those Asian salads with like a ginger citrus dressing on it, and it had pieces of crispy wonton in it. And I guess I had a piece of crispy wonton I did not chew properly, and guys, I cut myself on a salad.
Did you notice the advisory? I'm sure that was a double black diamond salad.
That is how things end up with ridiculous warnings on them. Like I've seen, all these drug commercials they run. It's like whatever drug, Clasparella or whatever. They're like, do not take Clasparella if you're allergic to Clasparella. I'm like, well, that should kind of be obvious, but there's obviously a reason that they have to tell people not to take it if they are allergic to it. So
some people will do warnings. That's magic. It's medicine and also magic, so it'll be fine. Yeah.
But I didn't see a warning on my salad for what it's worth. Yeah. But guys, speaking of beers, the much needed beers this week, Brian, what are your beers of the week?
So I pre-gamed with Sierra Nevada's Pils, which has been making the rounds. I think you may have seen it being promoted here and there. It's the skinny 8-ounce cans. It's basically an old world Pilsner with new world hops. So it's categorized under Untappd as just Pilsner Other, but that's the gist of it from the description. So it's good. It's really good. If you're looking for just a little bit of something, grab yourself an 8-ounce can of that. Quite nice.
I think that's weird. I think that's a weird choice for a Pilsner. Like you guys know I support smaller cans, especially for big beers and stouts and that. I'm just surprised they chose the Pilsner to make an 8-ouncer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's only 4.7%. So it's tiny. It's that makes a lot more sense for a big stout. But I mean, I guess I think the skinny cans give it the health halo effect. So people are like, yeah, it's the healthy alternative. So I'll drink that instead. But I'll have 8 of them. But it's healthy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm getting into Service Brewing's Freedom Machine Volume 7. It's a New England IPA with It's a Yakima Chief 7th Annual Veterans Blend of hops, which is Citra, Crystal, Yukonot, Eldorado, and Simcoe. I didn't know anything about this. I bought this in my travels. I grabbed a 6-pack of it, and I'm glad I did because I had one. I'm like, wow, this is really good. So I haven't had any service brewing stuff in a while, and I'm impressed. This is a good one, and it looks like it's the 7th one they've done. And yeah, if you see that around, grab some. And I will be following it up probably post game with a New Belgium's Voodoo Ranger Hop Dynasty, which is a West Coast double IPA with Citra, Mosaic, and Ilani hops, and that's one I got from a random mix IPA pack from Voodoo Ranger sometime over the holidays. I'm like, oh, hey, it's got a bunch of extra special new ones I've never seen before. So I grabbed it. I'm sure it'll be good. Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Nate, what's on the docket for you?
So I'm drinking my Beerless in Reverse in my glass currently from Bearded Iris's, their flagship homestyle New England IPA. This is just something that I've enjoyed over the years. I used to work for Scofflaw back when they owned Bearded Iris, so I used to be able to drink this beer a lot more, but I had a buddy swing through recently and give me a free 6-pack, so I'm just enjoying that tonight. And then on deck from Creature Comforts, I've got Family Meal, which is an export Helles lager. And the cool thing about this beer is that it's a collaborative beer with the Giving Kitchen. And the Giving Kitchen is one of those nonprofits that supports industry, service industry, hospitality industry people when they get injured or their car decides to crap out on them or whatever. So it's just a nice beer that is supporting a local Atlanta institution.
It's a good cause, man. We've supported as a show, we've supported the Giving Kitchen in the past on fundraisers and stuff, and we know people who have benefited from what the Giving Kitchen does. And we love beer and we love brew pubs and little pubs and restaurants and that, and they're not they're not the most stable places to work, especially if you're working the kitchen staff or waiting tables and that. So it's one emergency can really throw a wrench in the works, and Giving Kitchen is there to help that kind of stuff out.
And the brewery in the back, it's manufacturing. Like there's forklifts and incredibly heavy things that can fall over on you. Yeah, it's not just a stub my toe. It's like you could have a very serious injury that stays with you for a very long time.
You could.
Just doing your job. Yeah.
You could. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to friend of the show, Tyler, down in Texas. He's talked to us. Tyler's a big fan of Martin House Brewing. And we kind of got introduced to Martin House from their crazy beers. They did a buffalo wing beer. They did a ranch beer. They've done all this crazy stuff. But Tyler's like their real beers, their beer flavored beers are really good stuff. And even their beer flavored beers, they get a little creative with. But he sent us a care package with lots of good stuff in here. Like here's a hazy IPA with some coconut flavor and lactose. Brian, I think that one's for you there. That's,
must be.
The lactose beer we've got. There was one here that's a sour. Yeah, check this out. So I'm going to drink this. You guys won't get any of this one. Just a heads up for you. So this is a sour ale with pomegranate, apricot, tangerine, and lime. And it is called Zombie Beach Party. So if you're watching the live stream, let me see if I can get the label up there, getting a little glare on it there, but some really cool can art in these. So
their cans are so cool.
Yeah, they do really cool stuff here. But he sent us that. He sent us a couple of stouts. There's a barrel-aged stout and a Russian Imperial in there. So thanks, Tyler. We appreciate you hooking us up there, man. And we can't wait to get into these because I don't think I've had anything from Martin House yet.
Have you not?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I have. I don't know, but I don't recall it. So therefore, it's new to me. If you forget, it's new to you.
Exactly right. Yes.
Right. Well, y'all, news is it's crazy lately. Everywhere we look, everything that's going on, and we will stay out of the politics, but man, there's a lot going on in that world. And part of that is there's new dietary guidelines. And I haven't looked at the details yet, but I've heard the food pyramid pretty much got flipped. And I heard that they have removed low-fat milk from schools. They just did that. I think it's called whole milk for healthy kids. So our glorious leader signed a bill to put whole milk back in schools. So he believes that's a good thing. But most important to us with all these new dietary guidelines is there are new alcohol guidelines as well. So Brian, I think you dug into the dirty of this. What do we have to do about our alcohol consumption now?
Yeah. So we've been waiting. This was supposed to come out sometime like middle of last year, I think, and it kept getting pushed back. But yeah, I'm glad you said something about the food pyramid. I didn't really focus too much on that, but I did see it get inverted, so which was a very interesting thing. But yeah, so we finally have the answer to the question of what these new dietary guidelines will say about alcohol, and the answer is less than before in terms of specifics and probably in terms of volume of drinking. So the new 2025 to 2030 dietary guidelines for Americans, that's the official name of it, has moved away from the previous specific daily limits in favor of a statement advising people to consume less alcohol for better overall health. How much? Less. Whatever you're drinking, try drinking less of it. I guess that's the general guideline there. It does not make any different recommendations for men and women. The previous guidelines did. They recommended no more than 2 drinks per day for men and 1 for women. And the Brewers Association and the Beer Institute are calling this a win for sound science. There were fears that the U.S. might follow Canada's lead in stating that no amount of alcohol is considered safe. And there was a controversial study that was backed by people that were very much pro, outlawing and no amount of alcohol safe, prohibitionish
Teetotalers.
teetotalers, that was really pushing that narrative. I don't think that study ever finally got published or was included, so that's a win for everybody that cares about alcohol, really. So Dr. Mehmet Oz, I think that's how you say his name, he is the administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, says that total abstinence is the healthiest choice, but also that alcohol's role in social bonding and community can be beneficial. He pointed out the alcohol consumption in the blue zones as an illustration of how alcohol as a social lubricant may contribute to longevity. The blue zones are those areas in the world known for high numbers of people living well into advanced age, 80, 90, and even longer. And those places that people drink wine and some other stuff. So they're not teetotalers there. These guidelines will still explicitly state that pregnant women and anyone with problems with alcohol abuse and people on certain medications should avoid alcohol entirely. But yeah, it's a softening, I think. But what do you guys think about this approach to the guidelines?
So, when we had Professor Kottman on our show, that was back in 2024, he does help with writing those policies and sharing them out with health organizations around the world. And that he mentioned that the science or studies were pointing to no alcohol consumption. But I know at that time, he did say that they were making a big effort to say, okay, health-wise this, but, much like our new guidelines say, there are social aspects of this that need to be considered there, that there is a big social impact to it as well. So I don't know, Brian. I don't know what to think. And here's why. Because just like you said, there's a study that comes out that says don't drink any. We have some that tell us a little bit of alcohol is good. Drink red wine, that's good for you and that. So science keeps contradicting itself. And I kind of think like most things, Brian, it's probably safe. It's probably in best interest to be drink responsibly, as they put out there. Be responsible with it. And we all know it sounds like the younger generations are being more responsible. Us as Gen Xers, Brian, getting absolutely hammered on the weekend was 90% of the goal. We went out, we did that considerably. I think even then we all knew that was not smart. Wasn't smart. We still did it. So
we weren't trying to be smart.
No, smart was not on the to-do list there. So yeah, Brian, as far as these new guidelines go, just saying drink less, it's very ambiguous, but I guess it's kind of a good thing. Like wherever you are, do a little bit less there. So it's rather than putting people in a box with certain definitions.
It's a really smart policy for one reason, that it doesn't disagree with anybody who like it's that one of the things that's pointed out is this doesn't disagree with any other policy out there. It doesn't enforce the rigid guidelines or the no drinking at all that some other places want to enforce, but it also doesn't agree with them. So doesn't disagree with them. So it doesn't contradict them. So they really they played this well. I mean, they didn't anger any of the people that are in favor of alcohol. They didn't I think they may have annoyed the people who wanted there to be more of like a teetotaling push for it, but it still says less. Like it could imply less than what we previously recommended. You could read it that way, but you could also read it just like whatever you drink and drink a little less. And most people would agree with that. So I think this is a crowd pleaser. I think it's everybody's going to like it. Does it give specific guidelines? No, but here's the thing. I mean, the specific guidelines, there are probably people that shouldn't be drinking, some guys that shouldn't be drinking 2 drinks a night. I'm like, it's too much for them. And I think it was too much of a one size fits all thing anyway. And
Sure.
I'm not sure how valid it really was. But
the only issue with this, again, with the ambiguity, the other side of it there is if you got a guy that's drinking a case of beer a day and he goes from 24 beers to 22, then he's like, well, I'm drinking less. I'm following the guidelines there.
that is
So,
healthier. Technically speaking.
technically, yeah, got me on a technicality there,
He is
man.
technically correct, and that is the best
Yeah.
kind of correct. Yeah.
It'd be nice if our science, like you've got one study that says don't drink any, and you find out it's backed by teetotalers, abstinence committee or whatever. But it's just like getting, let's face it, man, we love the Brewers Association, but if they were the ones to back a study on how much beer could be consumed, there's a lot of people that are going to take that with a grain of salt because of who's behind it there. It's like they talk about, I saw a commercial on TV. I don't remember when it was, but it was talking about corn syrup. And they're like, corn syrup's just as healthy as as cane sugar, when consumed in moderate amounts, this and that. And then at the end of the commercial, it's like brought to you by the American Corn Growers Association. I'm like, of course it is, man. Of course it is. And so, yeah, the science would be a lot easier to trust if it wasn't that every scientific study out there for something along these lines has someone behind it who already has a stance.
So the one study that did figure into this, they had the 2 studies that were commissioned. The one that they did that was published and they did take into account was one that, as far as I could tell, the people that were behind it were all science-based people, and their findings were moderate drinking does lead to a lower risk of all-cause mortality. So they said moderate, low amount of drinking does in fact lead to less mortality. That's what the study found, and so that's what they went with. So they're like, let's drink less, then everybody will be fine, because the other one was, in fact, I looked at the organizations. I don't remember who they were, but I'm like, okay, these are people like, one of them was about like keeping kids from, keeping young people away from alcohol. Like they were ones that were motivated to keep people from drinking, period. And it was pretty clear. I'm like, well, of course you're going to find that no amount of alcohol is safe. Duh. Like that's their whole policy. They're not going to pay for a study and publish it if it contradicts what they believe in,
Right. And you also have to look at the people who are drinking the case of beer a day. They're not eating raw vegetables all day and drinking beer.
No.
You're not finding someone who is like, oh, I basically eat a head of lettuce and a bunch of carrots every day and then I drink beer. So you have to look at the people that would consume higher amounts. There's probably other lifestyle choices that aren't super healthy either. So yeah.
If anybody does do that, we'd love to have you on the show. If you eat lettuce and carrots, entire heads of cabbage, and drink beer, a case of it a day, we'd like to know how that's working for you.
Right. They go to the gym 5 times a week. They're eating veg. They're just living on beer, man. So best of luck to them. Brian, okay, another Sycamore update, another one. And, you mentioned this last week, but it has come out. Looks like they're looking to change their name.
Yeah, I think the main reason, well, it's a scandal, so you got to talk about scandals. So the only reason I brought it up is because we did kind of predict this a little bit. Like, I think other people were predicting it as well. But, last week we speculated that they're renaming the brewery might be the only chance it has to survive the very substantial fallout. The alleged crimes of the former owners. He hasn't been convicted yet, so I can't say for sure that he did it. It has made the Sycamore name radioactive. Nobody wants this beer on their shelves. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants a tap in their brewery. Nobody wants any of that stuff. So the brewery's trademark Sycamore sign and leaf have already been taken down at their South End location. They were removed just days after the tap room temporarily shut down on January 7th. The brewery's new name will be Club West Brewing LLC, at least officially. I I don't know if that's what the name is going to be on the brewery itself, but that's what it is. There's no word yet on when the tap room might reopen, but the current owner says she'll have details out sometime early in 2026. So I'm guessing this is going to be at least a month or more before all that happens. I don't know. It may be we might be looking at spring before we know when it's even going to open. So that's it. I assume at this point we've gone through all of the updates we will need to go through on this, but we'll see.
Unless there's a major change, I make a promise that there will be no more Sycamore news.
Okay.
We've given them we've given them enough press here for sure. So
Exactly.
But yeah, all right. Moving right along, Brian. Guinness news. All right, we get a lot of Guinness news on here as well, but this is a little interesting. The 60-40, Brian. Guinness on social media once again.
Once again, just when you thought Guinness couldn't possibly get any more attention from social media than it already has with the split in the G and everything like that, something called the 60-40 Guinness has gone viral. It started with Instagram this time, not TikTok. An Instagram reel from a pub in the outskirts of Dublin called the Palmerstown Horse Pub, or House Pub, sorry, not a horse pub. Could be a horse pub. That would be cool. They posted a video of a bartender pouring what the pub calls the 60-40. It's like your typical Guinness. It's a pint poured in 2 stages. That's typical, but it's a blend of Guinness 0.0 and regular Guinness. The first part is a little over halfway up the glass with Guinness 0.0. That's the 60 or the 60% of the pour. And the second part is regular Guinness. That adds up to a Guinness with a 1.7% ABV. So Guinness already has a pretty low ABV, considerably lower. But just because this thing has gone viral doesn't mean it's universally loved. Commenters seem split on whether the 60-40 is a hate crime or a great idea. I saw a lot of negative comments when I looked more than positive. Stuff like, well, you could just drink a Guinness 0.0 after you drink a regular Guinness and achieve the same thing. But I gotta say I would try this. I'm curious because there is a little bit of a difference in the flavor between the two. And I don't know, it's a lighter Guinness. Why not? You know, if you're at an event where people want to drink a lot but they don't want to get hammered, maybe this is the way to go. I mean, it'll take you a lot of beers for you to get anywhere on the 1.7%.
So that was my thing, Brian, and I know you and I have talked about this in the past. I know you said you do enjoy the Guinness Zero. I always thought it was missing just a little something, and it was missing enough of a little something that it didn't satisfy me if I was in the mood, for a Guinness, for a good nitro stout there. So I don't know if the 60-40 split there. And Brian, did I miss it? Which is which there? Is it 60% the regular one or 60% NA?
The non-alcoholic. So they typically pour Guinness in 2 stages. The first pour is a little over halfway up of the 0%.
Okay.
Non-alcoholic.
Gotcha.
And the last 40% after that settles a bit is the regular Guinness. So this may give you that missing element of Guinness or just enough of it to get you something that is enjoyable.
And Brian, technically speaking, it does follow the new health guidelines too.
It's drinking less.
You're drinking less, yeah. That's right. You can even have the same number of pints and still drink less. So I think we found a loophole. Those technicalities again get you there. So I'd try it. I'd be curious. Yeah, man, I'd be curious to see if it brought that little something back to it that I thought was missing there. So how about you, Nate? Would you try 60-40 here?
1,000%.
Okay.
I actually would probably transition to that if I could get that locally. I mean, that just sounds like a great time.
Now, Nate, you said you were, I forget how you put candy striping or something like that with your alcohol this year.
Yeah.
Couldn't you just do this all the time? Would that technically qualify?
I think that would technically qualify.
Yeah.
I mean, I unbeknownst to me, I am embodying the alcohol guidelines to a T, and that I am drinking less this year.
Yeah.
And I am pinstriping for the year, so this is a drinking week, which is why it's okay. So I that's why I'm drinking beers on the show this week. But yeah, I think if I had a happy medium, I would 60-40 my entire year through.
I think I'm going to try the 30-30-40, which is the Coke plus Guinness 0.0 and then the regular Guinness. You remember how there's a mix of Guinness and Coke? It's actually pretty good. I'm going to do that. The 30-30-40. That's going to be my Guinness.
I think you're going too far, Brian.
You're
going too far.
Not far enough.
I don't know about that.
Maybe a shot of pork in there too.
Sometimes you
then
need to
you're
ask
Brian
why
brings it.
should I?
Yeah,
It,
Brian
it
mixes
ends up being
non-alcoholic
a
beer in there, and
10%.
ends up with a higher ABV. He's like, "How did we get here?"
Yeah,
Good
magic.
old Guinness, man. Good old Guinness. Well, Brian, one thing we can always count on is that beer laws are going to be fair and honest and always make sense. And to that note, there is actually a lawsuit now on bans on putting vintage years on ciders and mead.
Yeah, this is a fun one. I saw this was a kind of a weird press release that happened to come through. It's not about beer, but it's adjacent. And we do enjoy cider and mead, so I thought this would be fun to hear about. And it's the same kind of laws that we're fighting with. So
Right.
it's how the TTB labeling rules, they're treating cider and mead as second class citizens when compared to wine, specifically grape wine, because other forms of wine also are considered different. Garden path fermentation, they make beer and cider, mead, and other fruit wines. They have filed a federal lawsuit challenging the TTB's ban on vintage dating on cider, mead, and fruit wines that aren't grape. Currently, the TTB allows only grape wine producers to list the harvest year, aka the vintage, but strictly bans the same information from it being included in the labeling for other fermented beverages, even if the year is accurate and provable. The plaintiffs argue that this is a violation of the First Amendment, and it's arbitrary and capricious under the administrative law. Capricious, if you didn't know, and I didn't actually, means acting on a whim or impulse without regard for facts, logic, or established rules, i.e., there is no logical reason to ban vintage dates on cider or mead or whatever. But it gets weirder. The FDA regulates products under 7%, so they would cover those lower ABV ones. They allow vintage dating. But the TTB, which regulates over 7%, prohibits it. So that's the ignoring the established law there. The plaintiffs aren't looking for any money in this case. They just want the court order to stop the TTB from enforcing this ban. They are basically seeking fair treatment for cider and mead compared to just regular wine. I'm a little perplexed at why the rules would be different for cider and other fruit wines than grape wine. One of the terms I saw being thrown around is gatekeeping sophistication. That only grape wine is sophisticated enough to merit a vintage, which does sound like something that people would believe. But in my humble opinion, rules like this smell of corruption and somebody's getting paid or somebody's getting suppressed in some way. I'm not exactly sure how. I guess this keeps more money going into people who make wine. I don't really know why anybody really benefits from this.
Is it because what was it ever stated why?
No,
do that.
No, I didn't see any indication anywhere. Again, it was a press release, so I mean, I guess I could have dug a little bit more than I did, but they had a fair amount of information on there, and I couldn't think of one, to be honest with you.
I don't know
know
why
what?
they would do that.
They did say something about consumer safety, like people would. I don't know why, but there was some argument about consumer safety, and them misunderstanding something about it, like the population not being confused because of the vintage. And that didn't make sense to me. So they did say a little bit about something about that, but that didn't add up to me either. Like, what could you be confused about? Like, oh, the fruit that went into this mead was harvested on this year. Like, what's confusing about that?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, you know what? That's one we'll have to keep an eye on and see if we can find out exactly what the reasoning, what the logic is behind it, because it doesn't make any sense, But we always see it does sound like something that potentially could be coming from wine lobby. If they could put vintages on there, that sets them apart. And we've seen it in a lot of states have special laws for wine. And one thing I have heard with that is it's an agricultural product. And
Yes.
in a lot of areas where agriculture is big, that ends up being a fairly decent amount of voters. So, you do things like the farmers out there taking care of the land. And I know what they've said, like in Georgia, it used to be that you could, like, wineries could sell wine directly to consumer well before breweries, could do that.
Yes.
Breweries and distilleries, and mail order as well. You could send wine through the mail, but not beer or whiskey or whatever. And it was, that's when I found out that a lot of it had to do with, at vineyards, you've got people growing and the industry there and all that goes along with it. So they were getting a little preferential treatment on things there.
It does seem weird to me, and there's a certain amount of prestige. Maybe I could see that. Like, you're
Yeah.
gonna buy a bottle of wine, it's like, oh, it's got this year on it. Oh, this is a very good year. I'm like, if you found something else that's in a wineish kind of bottle that has a date on it, it has the prestige, it has the sophistication looking, like that's a selling point.
Yeah.
And I could see like not allowing other people to have it just because that's our thing. I'm like, why
Sure.
is that your thing? You didn't invent years and harvests. I mean, come on. Anyway.
Well, and we know, I mean, again, we're craft beer lovers, so we support craft beer. But I remember the campaign against non-alcoholic beer, and them saying that it's unsafe. It's a breeding ground for bacterias and this and that.
I've
It's
seen that,
all
yeah.
this stuff. And the thing is, sure. And then you read the study. It's like, yeah, we took non-alcoholic beer and we inoculated it with 72,400 viruses, and it grew in there, and it didn't in regular. Sure, yeah, but in your can of NA beer, you're not going to have Ebola virus in there. Hopefully. So
If
it's
people are
just
pasteurizing those cans like they should be after
sure,
they're sealed, there's nothing to worry about. It
right.
may taste bad if it sits for too long, but it's not going to be bad.
Yeah, like sure, okay, I get it. If you pour both of these in a petri dish and then put some bacteria in them, it's going to grow here more than it will there. I get that. I understand. I understand where you're coming from
Alcohol
there.
will definitely
So
inhibit the growth of stuff after they've been
yeah,
inoculated.
yeah,
Sure, sure.
absolutely, man, absolutely. Well, Brian, before we move along, how about we give a shout out to our friends at Truck and Tap?
Yes, yes. So the holidays are fun, but it's nice to get back to normal again. But if you're participating in Dry January, you're not all the way back to normal just yet. So have no fear. Truck and Tap does have non-alcoholic options, so you can still drop by and have a good time. To start with, they always have a tap dedicated to coffee, and who doesn't want coffee all day long? I mean, I know I do. Maybe I'm weird. If you need more than that, they also have NA beer and cocktail options. They're not typically on tap, so you'll have to ask about them. They do have other cans and other options available, and they can make NA cocktails. As for the rest of us, let's talk about beer. Here are my beer picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Goodword and Heater Allen's collaboration called Coastline Pils. It's a German Pilsner. It's on the side pull tap, and it's dry hop with Saphir hops. I like all those things. I have had this beer before. I believe I've had it in cans. I don't know if I've ever had it in tap, and I definitely never had it off the side pull tap. So got to try this one. This one's going to be great. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Bell's Hop Slam. Yes, I get this every year, and yes, last year's Hop Slam is always better than this year's. But if you're not familiar with the beer and the inside jokes, it's one of those double IPAs that had tons of hype back in the day and endless arguments between beer nerds about which year was better. It was always better last year or 2 years ago if the other person hadn't had it 2 years ago. That's how you flex on them. But anyway, you can expect piney and citrusy hops, a honey backbone, and a noticeable booziness in this 10%er. And actually, when I was typing that up, I'm like, I can still taste that. When I think about that, I can still taste that booziness and that honey booziness in the hop slam. I like that. So at this point, I have to get it because it's tradition, also because I like it, and I don't care who knows. At Truck and Tap Alpharetta, my pick is Cascadia from Normaltown. It's said to be a classic West Coast style IPA, featuring, you guessed it, Cascade hops. Cascadia, Cascade hops, makes sense. I'm always down for a good West Coast IPA, and I don't often cross paths with Normaltown beers, so it's an easy pick. If you haven't had a beer from Normaltown before, give this one a shot, see what they're all about. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Yazoo's Gerst Amber. I picked this one because I've been thinking a lot about amber ales recently. I keep an eye out for them. That style has I have a lot of love for that style, and I kind of like craving it. I don't know why. Also because this is a revival of a pre-Prohibition beer that was originally brewed by the first brewery in Nashville, Gerst. Hence the name, Gerst Amber. The brewery didn't survive Prohibition, unfortunately, but Yazoo has taken great pains to brew a beer that is close to the original recipe as possible, and there's nothing like drinking a little beer history, so you can do that with this one. And there you have my beer picks for the week. As always, if you'd like to see a full tap list before stopping by, take a look at truckandtap.com. The taps change quickly, and you never know what great new beer might go on, and which of these might, run out. So, and if you'd like to see what the food trucks are serving and what events are happening, trivia, your karaoke, your live music, bingo, whatever they have going on, you can also find that at truckandtap.com. Everything you need to know can be found at truckandtap.com, so check it out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thank you, Truck and Tap. We appreciate you very much. Brian, coming up in the news here. This is the brewery. When everybody asks, all these great breweries that we have here, we've got just a huge, wonderful amount of beer that makes it to Georgia and that is made in Georgia. But if there's one brewery that I'd love to see come to our state, this is it. Firestone Walker, and they are celebrating a pretty big anniversary.
Yeah, I keep waiting to see him. I keep expecting every time I go
One
in,
day.
this will be the day
We
when
got to
Firestone
believe.
Walker shows up. One day. So they were founded in 1996. Firestone Walker is celebrating their 30th anniversary in 2026. To celebrate, the brewery is refreshing the packaging on its core brands, DBA, which is the Double Barrel Ale, Union Jack IPA, and Pivo Pils, which is a great one. I really wish we could get that here. Using designs that were inspired by the original labels. So they're going back to the originals, but refreshing them. The brewery is also doubling down on promoting DBA, the Double Barrel Ale, the first beer they ever made, and recipients of dozens of medals. So they will also be a return of I lost some other stuff. I don't even know what it was, but Easy Jack, a session
My
IPA.
notes say 3, Brian. There will be a return of the number 3.
Yeah,
apparently
something got erased, but there will be a return of Easy Jack. I think there was just a return put in there. Easy Jack, which is a session IPA and a new IPA in a mixed pack. What was it? Thunder. Yes. Diesel Thunder, a limited edition double IPA in my jumbled up notes, all in a mixed pack with some other stuff. I believe Union Jack IPA will be in there as well. And it's all about their range of brewing IPA. So they want to go with the on the very light end to the very heavy end with that new Diesel Thunder. I would like to try the new Diesel Thunder. Please send it to Atlanta. The 30th anniversary will be celebrated all year long with a series of events, including a special 30th anniversary block party during the Firestone Walker Invitational Beer Festival in May, and a series of traveling tap takeovers called Walker's Wild Ride. Congratulations and happy 30th anniversary, Firestone Walker. That's quite an achievement, especially in these days, and please come to Georgia.
Come to Georgia.
We
are ready for you. We are ready for you.
We are so ready.
Absolutely. I forget which one of it was. One of their anniversary beers, Brian. I think we've had it a couple times, but 26, maybe 23, one of those.
Oh yeah, the vintage, the one that's a blend of all of them. I still have a small 375 of that somewhere. I think.
But that's one of the best beers I've ever had. Just phenomenal beer. So, well, Brian, something that is coming back and will probably be here in Georgia, and there are at least some people that would be extremely excited about this. Bapple is back, baby.
Yeah,
will be.
It will be, and it probably will be in Georgia for at least 5 minutes before it sells. But Anheuser-Busch has officially confirmed that Bapple, a.k.a. Busch Light Apple, is returning to shelves in 2026, though the specific dates remain top secret. It would appear that the Bapple has officially become the McRib of Anheuser-Busch, and by that I mean the off-again, on-again availability that creates a sense of urgency in the people who like it and prevents the brand from becoming stale. It's kind of smart, and I think people get it and they like to play along with these kind of things. But during its initial 2020 launch, it captured more market share in its first month than any other brand and moved 1.2 million cases. That thing exploded. It also paved the way for Busch Light Peach in 2023 and Busch Light Lime in 2025, though neither of those generated nearly as much excitement. And I don't know why. I mean, Peach seems like that might have been a no-brainer, but people wanted that apple. So the speculation and guesstimation by industry folks and the smart people that predict these things is that we're likely to see Bapple drop in late April to get a head start on the competitive summer seasonal market. So that would be the smart news. That's not official. That's just speculation. There's also no indication of how much will be produced and if it will be the same amount or more than the last time or less. We don't know. I think as fast as it went out the last time, my guess would be slightly more, but not enough to... I don't think they ever want this to sit on shelves for more than like 30 minutes. So I think that's the goal of it. But that's my prediction. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is selling out as fast as last time? Or is this going to... Are people going to be a little tired of it, a little bored of it? Maybe the attitudes for alcohol will be a little different this time around.
Nate, what do you think? What are your Bapple thoughts?
So the guys who support Bapple are not the craft beer whale hunters. They're the guys that drink a case of beer a day. They're the Bush Light boys. And so those guys, I think it's going to sell out like it did this year. And I mean, the only reason I even had the opportunity to get it is that I happened to be in a grocery store in Athens, Georgia, downtown Athens, Georgia. I looked to my left, I saw it on the shelf, and I snagged a 6 pack, and we got to try it. It's it's what it is. It's a light beer with apple flavor added to it, and it's not it's not terrible, but I now that I've experienced Bapple, I don't think I need to go out and buy myself another 6 pack of it.
Yeah, I'm good. I wanted to try it just because of the hype, man. You know, they get. We love our craft beers and that, but if something stupid comes around or crazy comes around, we'll try it. You know, we'll drink a Bud Light Limerita to see what it's about.
Mhm.
We had a few years ago, back when we were on the radio, our station. I'm forgetting the call letters of it right now. In Tallahassee, our station down in Tallahassee,
Oh
where
yeah.
we did real well in the Tallahassee market. And they ended up inviting us down there to do a beer fest with them. But Natter Days was trending.
Natter Days.
Our buddy Greg Tish, who is the morning DJ there in Tallahassee. We went out to the beer fest with all these craft brewers there, and there was a cooler full of Natter Days there. And I got to tell you, on the beach, in the heat, in the salt there, and that it was a pretty refreshing drink. I didn't feel the need to keep stocked on it, but it was. I don't even know if they're still around. I don't hear them anymore. Was it a limited thing?
I was wondering if Natter Days was still around, because I think I remember hearing some news about it. May have been discontinued, and I'm like, no, you can't. You can't. I'm like, I know I haven't
take
been
away
buying
my
it,
Natter Days.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it, man. I enjoy trying this stuff for the novelty of it. I'm not going to go out and get Bapple again. I have no use for it, but we know it's got its fans. So if they keep McRib in it, they can probably keep it going.
I think it does a good. It's a safe bet that it'll sell well this time. They'll find out soon enough if it ever gets to a point where it sits around. They're going to start reeling it back and making people wait to buy it again. I will buy more if I see it, not because I'm in love with it, just because the obnoxious things you can do with it on social media. The BGR Twitter account and obnoxious check-ins on Untapped. I would get it for that alone, just because it's funny. Honestly,
okay,
I would still do it. I probably shouldn't. I mean,
have you thought about like real quality beer content though instead?
No, I mean, I've thought about it, but that's hard. Enough. That's harder than than jokey throwaway content. I prefer that. It's much nicer.
That's fair. All right, fair enough. Yeah. So Bapple coming back there for the people that are looking forward to Bapple being back. Bapple being back. That's a little tricky to say.
Will be back.
Yeah. Well, Brian, here is a new challenge, and this is something we kind of think this was. I'm sure there's been other challenges, but there was a brewery in Atlanta for many years we were a big fan of. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you most definitely heard us talk about Orpheus Brewing, and their kind of flagship beer there was called Transmigration of Souls, which was an IPA, and there somehow, I don't know where it started, but it became the Transmigration of Souls Challenge. And it was basically sitting down and consuming an entire 6-pack of these. Because again, as we stated earlier, our generation does stupid things with alcohol. These were the type of challenges that we did. So, but now we found out that, there's something going on out there. Brian Cutwater, who does, they were part of the Ballast Point family of companies.
Yes.
And they are the canned RTD cocktails. But social media right now has got the Cutwater Challenge going on.
Yeah, it's getting as much attention in some areas as Guinness is on social media that you might not hear about it. But about the past 6 months, Cutwater canned cocktails, the Cutwater Challenge. The rest of the year, the alcohol market in 2025 was really struggling. Cutwater sales exploded. Their sales were up 78%, and volume was up 41%, making it the 10th largest spirits brand in the U.S. And Cutwater owes a lot of that growth to the viral Cutwater Challenge on TikTok. And basically, the challenge entails users filming themselves while they drink an entire 4-pack of Cutwater cocktails. The cocktails range in ABVs from 7%. There might be even one that's a little lower than that. Most of them are 10% to 13%, though, leading to what I'm sure are pretty entertaining videos from the Gen Z folks that are doing this. As someone who braved the Transmigration of Souls challenge myself, the 10% double IPAs, I find this adorable. If you haven't heard about it, it's because Anheuser-Busch, the owner of Cutwater now, they're steering clear of it. They don't want to be seen as promoting. They want to be seen as promoting reasonable drinking and not promoting stuff that's kind of reckless. And this is quite the opposite of reasonable drinking. So, honestly, the real reason I included this story in the show is to mention the Transmigration of Souls challenge, Rip Orpheus, and how much I love that. And I dug out a picture of my glass surrounded by the 6 empty cans of Transmigration of Soul, and a little tear rolled down the side of my face. It was
Memories.
Beautiful. But also, I have a beef with Cutwater. Tim, did you know they discontinued the gin and tonic?
I didn't. I just saw that in your notes here, Brian, and that is that's hurtful. I think
it is
because that was quite good. That was definitely my favorite from them. And to be honest, I don't remember the other ones they have. I think they may have had a Mai Tai.
They did have a Mai Tai. They still do.
So here's the thing with the Mai Tai. I thought it was good as a cocktail, but maybe not necessarily as an actual Mai Tai, if that makes any sense. Like,
no,
all right, this tastes fine, but if I'm wanting an actual Mai Tai, this isn't going to cut it. So
they also had a strawberry something or other. I forget what that was. It wasn't bad. I tried that. I have been, kind of looking when I didn't realize this until I looked into this story. I suspected it because for years I've been kind of casually looking at Cutwater to see if the gin and tonic would show up, just wondering like, this place isn't stocked them. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. And I finally went to their website to look to see if it's even listed. It's gone. It's not there.
Gone.
And I love that. That was a really good one. And because I haven't seen that, I haven't been really interested. Like they've got these Palomas and things. I'm like, I don't want the Paloma. I want the gin and tonic. That was the good one.
I guess it's just not cool anymore, man. I guess it's just not the thing to have these days. And a Paloma. I've heard of a Paloma, but I don't know what the heck that is, Brian. I don't know what the world of Paloma is. Do they have a what's the one, Brian? Your little bitter aperitif kind of thing there.
Oh, I think they did have something that they didn't have. They don't have a Negroni that I saw.
Okay,
I think they do skew a little less challenging, I guess is the word. Negronis are a little bit on the challenging side with their kind of herbal, earthy bitterness that they have. So I think that's not the audience that Cutwater is looking for.
Yeah.
But there are some Negronis out there that are actually pretty good. And I've had them. Yeah.
I'm looking on their website right now, Brian, and they've got a boatload of it. I don't know why they had to cut the gin and tonic from the lineup, but they've got, if I remember correctly, I think their margarita was fairly decent for a canned margarita. They actually have several different margarita variations there. They got a Long Island tea.
I would try that. I haven't had a Long Island iced tea in a long time. I would give that a shot.
And they used to have a White Russian, a canned White Russian. Oh wait, here they are. Here's they have a strawberry White Russian. They have an espresso martini, Brian.
I would probably drink that. I like the espresso martini from back when the first time it was popular. So I liked it. I liked it back before it was cool, and back then they thought it wasn't cool, but then it went out of style. Then it got cool again, and people still don't think it's cool. So I'm a couple generations back of it not being cool but popular.
Now, Brian, they have a Gin Collins. No,
I saw that.
I don't know if you saw that.
That's the only gin drink that they have. Did you notice that? There's only one.
Man, they've got a ton here. I hadn't paid attention, but they've got just an absolute insane amount of canned cocktails here.
But no gin and tonic.
But no gin and tonic. Just the Collins now.
Yeah.
The Collins there. So anyhow, but I'll say this, of the canned cocktails out there, because there's some really lousy ones. The ones I've tried from Cutwater have been pretty decent. Like in general, they are a pretty decent canned cocktail. So I just saw they had a spicy Bloody Mary, and that's
I didn't see that
could be
one.
my jam as well there too. So Interesting stuff, Brian. Well, y'all, that about wraps up our show for this week. We appreciate you hanging out as always. If you dig what we're doing here, we would absolutely love for you to tell a friend about it. Tell them to tune in, check out the show, subscribe, download, basically live their lives for Beer Guys Radio. And we greatly appreciate that. If you really dig what we're doing, then please do go to patreon.com/Beer Guys. We'd love your support there. We'll get you into our Patreon Discord chat where you can hang out with us and talk about everything under the sun. And that will also get you an invite to the after party to come hang out with us and have a beer after the show live stream each week. So, well, with all that said, we hope that you all do have a really, really good week. And don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Dun, dun, dun. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate it. We are going to wrap up here again. If you're a Patreon supporter, we'll put that link over in the Discord, and we'll see you all next week. Cheers.